So
Yes.
Shruti, thank you so much for taking out the time for being on the call. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and what are you doing in Germany and so on?
Yes, Bharat, first of all, thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful platform, for providing a lot of students a lot of knowledge of how to come to Germany and stuffs like that. So yeah, about myself, I am working as an assistant Zahnarzt in Praxis in a city called Karlsruhe in Germany. It's somewhere near Stuttgart. And I've been in Germany for about 3 years now.
Yes, so I see, Shruti, that like a lot of people have so crazy amounts of questions about like how do they become a dentist in Germany. So like what
Yeah.
was your personal story? Like what took you to Germany and what were the challenges that you faced? How did the entire timeline look like for you?
The first things first is you don't have a proper channel, or you don't have a proper guide of how to become a dentist in Germany, because there are very few people, or I should say very few Ausländer here in Germany, who are dentists, who work here as dentists. So I should say that the process was not clear when I actually came here to Germany. I came to Germany on spouse visa. So my husband was working here, so I came to Germany, and I started learning the language. I knew that there's a lot of complicated process which I was not able to understand though. So I started with first learning the language. It started with A1 because I had no knowledge of the language here in India. Once I came there, I started with my A1 to B1 from November of 2017 to March of 2018. Exactly. So then I had a little break. I came back to India for some time and then started B2. Till B2 is what is actually required by the Federal Dentist Association for the land or for
Okay.
the state.
Okay.
Especially when you are into this field, or like Pflege or medicine or dentistry or Zahnmedizin, it is like you ought to speak excellent German.
Yeah, yeah.
And regarding the process, there is no clear cut passage or no clear cut guidelines as such.
Mhm.
And the rules are also not similar for all the states. So I cannot tell you in Skisam like every state is having the same rules. No, every state has its own rules. Say I live in Baden-Württemberg, and someone in Bayern has a different set of rules. Someone applying there is going to have a different set of rules, and someone applying in NRW may have a different set of rules. But this is the common thing. What happened to me when I applied in Baden-Württemberg? I can tell you the
Yeah.
process, what happened here. It took about a year and 3 months for me to reach from A1 to B2. And till B2, it is like normal German, what normal people used to learn, right? The normal A1 to B2 levels. But you require something called C1, Zahnmedizin, or it is also called the Fachsprachenprüfung or the Fachsprachprüfung. You have to pass that exam, and that is considered to be the C1 level for Zahnmedizin. The thing is, like, you have to pass till B2, and you will be asked for a set of documents that is already given in every state's Ärztekammer or Zahn Ärztekammer. You have the list of things that are actually required, certificates you have in India, and everything should be translated. Say around 15 to 16 set of documents are required. And along with that, you need something called the B2 certificate, the German certificate, and it should be from institutes like Goethe or Telg or something, some reputed institutes. And it is very well and good when you learn the language here in Germany. It is like acceptable. And then you will require certificates of your dentistry in whichever home country you have done. You have to bring that, and everything must be translated and then sent to the respective Zahnärztekammer.
Okay. Okay.
And from there, the process actually begins. Till B2 is very normal. So someone who is actually aspiring to become a dentist there in Germany, you have to complete till B2, the minimum language requirement for any state for that matter. And there are actually states, as of what I've heard, because I'm not sure of what is the language level. Most states had B1 before 2014 or 15. That's what people said. And when I arrived, it was B2, level B2. And there are also states like Saxon or so, you have to have C1.
many Germans are also like so picky that like they want somebody who speaks like perfect German in the
Yeah,
office, and like they freak out if like somebody doesn't speak German, especially like
yeah.
in Zahnarzt like praxis. Of course, makes sense. Like if they're saying something in German, you didn't understand something, right? So could be a massive like screw up. But yes, I understand. So German is
And
definitely a
you have
priority.
patients who are of elder or
Yeah,
like they're elderly or old patients. No, they
yeah.
don't come, they don't approach when you
Yeah.
don't have perfect German. Level of understanding should be there.
Mhm. So if I take you a bit back, Shruti, and like ask you about like your studies and stuff in India. So like what kind of studies do generally like dentists do, and like how relevant is it like when you come to Germany, the same studies?
Dentistry here in India is a 5-year course. It is called the Bachelor of Dental Surgery or BDS, and that's what I've done. And there
Hmm.
are a lot of people who also do a master degree here in India with a lot of specifications,
Okay.
which has about 8, 9 specifications you can do masters in.
Hmm.
But I have not done any masters. I've just come after my bachelor's directly to Germany,
Right.
and your degree is actually not licensed
Okay.
directly here in Germany. You have to do the Approbation or
Okay.
the licensing exam that has to be passed, and then you can start working as a dentist. Like
So.
you can pass the exam Approbation, and then for 2 years you have to work as assistants arts, or you call it as assistants site,
Mhm.
and then you can start working as a full-time regular dentist.
So like in 2018, like you got done with your German and stuff. So how did this like approbation and like this 2 year of like trial period work out for you? So like what were the processes that you did after that?
I'm still in the site.
Okay.
I'm not done with it actually,
Yeah.
because of this Elton site. There's a break right now,
Yeah.
so the process is actually very clear. Right now, there are a lot of dentists from foreign countries who are coming here. Actually, there are quite a lot of dentists, but you don't. The only problem here with the dental council is that you don't get appointments so soon. It actually takes about 3 to 6 months of time once you apply. It is not like you come here, you apply, you get the result, you start working the next day or something like that. It is not so easy. But the time taken from the day you register for the proof till the day you give the exam is going to be between 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
You
And
never know.
that is the approbation that you're talking about.
No, that is the first exam or the Fachsprachprüfung.
Okay. The
There are two
Fachsprachprüfung.
exams.
Okay.
Yeah, there are two exams that you have to pass before you become a qualified dentist
Hmm.
here in Germany, especially when you're from India. So the first exam is called the Fachsprachprüfung. The second exam is going to be called the Approbation
Hmm.
or the Kenntnisprüfung or the Gleichwertigkeitsprüfung.
So of course, like I'm asking all of these questions as an engineer who has no idea from the medical field. So like of course I apologize for questions which sound too plain. Um, so as far as I've understood so far is like you did till B2, and then afterwards you have to register at the Ärztekammer with the documents. So this registration is for Anerkennung, or like what is the registration for?
This registration is actually because so that you want to work as a dentist in
Mhm.
that state, that
Okay.
particular state. So my husband works here in Baden-Württemberg, so I want to work here in Baden-Württemberg is the first plea that I have to submit to the uh, Ärztekammer here in Baden-Württemberg. So with this you have to give an Glaubhaftmahnung. Either your husband or spouse or your child is studying here in this state,
Hmm.
you're going to work in your future in this state. There must be a legally binding thing,
Okay.
something like a contract of your husband or something like that, or a job offer
Mhm.
that you have to show
Okay.
before you start this process in the state. And
Okay.
at least I should say this is very specific to Baden-Württemberg. I'm not sure even
Mhm.
if it is the same with other states.
Mhm.
I didn't know that I can actually submit the contract of my husband. I searched for jobs even before I had my C1 or my
Mhm.
Fachsprachenprüfung. For this Fachsprachprüfung, you need what is it? You need a deficit Bescheid or what is all missing and stuffs like that. And if the first process is you have to arrange all these documents what you have collected, and all these documents are given very clearly in the website of every state. That you can actually go there and download. Maybe even I can send you the link
Mhm.
of for Baden-Württemberg.
Yeah.
From there, you have to collect all these documents, which are actually very easy, like Polish Zeugnis and something like that. You have to collect everything, clean translation from a licensed translator. You have to just send it to the Arztakama.
Does that mean that like if you do not have a job and you come as a foreigner to Germany, like you cannot like apply for like being a dentist at all?
It is a kind of yes.
Okay.
Because the process is not so clear,
Yeah,
there's a lot of confusion actually. There's a lot of confusion with regard to my field
Mm.
compared to the other fields, because being here as a wife of an engineer, I know how straightforward the process is for an engineering grad from India. It's very, I should say, I shouldn't say simple because there's a lot of competition, of course, but
It's
the
definitely
process is
simple.
very clear cut.
Yeah.
You know, you start here, you end here, you land on a job, and that's how it works.
Mm.
But it is like there is no light at the end of a tunnel. You have to keep going. And only thing I have to say is to all the aspirants out there who wanted to come to Germany as a dentist, you have to work really hard on your language.
Mhm.
That is going to be the key, and that is the only way we can start working here.
If I think about it, like, so you also like try to look for jobs. Like, what was your experience with that? Like, what kind of like feedback you were getting from the praxis?
Most praxis which is owned by Germans,
Hmm?
they do not give first priorities for foreigners because they have this fear. What if we don't speak enough German? So you'll be first of all interviewed only for your German. Only the next set is going to be for your Kentness or your knowledge. The
Okay.
knowledge doesn't actually play the first part here.
Okay.
When you're able to speak very good German, or at least please them, then I hope it works. It is actually not so difficult to find a dentist job in Germany, I should say. Once you have all these documents ready,
Mhm.
you have your Berufserlaubnis. I don't think it's actually even as tough as an engineer to find a job.
Like, people are always complaining in Germany that they're not getting the doctor appointment like quickly, like also like with the dentist and stuff. So that makes sense. And can you talk a bit more about the Berufserlaubnis, Shruti? Like, what is that and how do you get it?
First is when you do your B2 exam, you have to, as I said, you have to submit all the documents to the Zahnärztekammer in every state. And what happens here in Baden-Württemberg is that you get a certificate or a Bescheid, and that is called a deficit Bescheid. That states that you don't have once you have done with your B2, they give you something called Bescheid. That is the deficit Bescheid, as I told, and it is mentioned very clearly that you have to have C1 Zahnmedizin or the Fachsprachenprüfung, which means the Fachsprachenprüfung. C1 Zahnmedizin is the Fachsprachenprüfung, what you're going to give on a later date. So when you are done with all these documents and sending them, you are actually making an Anmeldung for the Prüfung. And the thing is, you will not only make it for the Fachsprachprüfung, but also for the Kenntnisprüfung that is going to come on a later date. In Baden-Württemberg, you get something along with the deficit Bescheid when you submit a job offer. See, I told you there is for Glaubhaft-Mahnung, you can submit 3. Either your child going to school here in Baden-Württemberg, which means that you're going to live here, which means that you're living here and you're going to live here when your child goes to a school here or Kita here or something like that. Or when your husband is having a permanent employment contract here in Baden-Württemberg, that also is good for a Glaubhaft-Mahnung. Or a job, a zukünftiger Arbeitsgeber is what they ask for. Say some praxis says, okay, Shruti is very good. When she has an Berufserlaubnis, I can give her a job. When you have that kind of offer, you can get what is called as Berufserlaubnis 6 months prior to your Fachsprachenprüfung. So in case totally, I should say you get it for 2 years, this Berufserlaubnis. During this time, you cannot work alone as a dentist. You have to work under somebody or a doctor, and you cannot do all the procedures. You are limited, and that depends totally on your dentist or the employer, and he or she decides what you have to do and what you cannot do, what you can do under his supervision, and so on.
But actually, you've simplified it now a lot. So now I've understood like the timeline a bit. So first you have to like submit the documents to the Zahnärztekammer, and then afterwards you get your deficit Bescheid, and then afterwards you see that you have to do the C1 this Fachprüfung and the Kenntnisprüfung, which is the approbation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
And then like before this Fachspracheprüfung, you have 6 months before that you get the Berufserlaubnis, and with that like you are able to then work under a dentist in any of the praxis. Like, so the person who gave you the employment, right? So
Yeah.
I see that like I think the entire game here kind of is dependent on if you can actually convince a dentist in Germany who is having his own like practice to give you a conditional, let's
Perfect.
say, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
this job offer.
It's perfect. What you asked, what you are telling now is the perfect thing which I didn't wanted to tell actually.
Okay.
That is how it works. When you have people here, or
Mm.
when you know people here, or when you're able to convince people here
Yeah.
for a job offer or something like that,
Mm.
the game is going to be very easy.
Okay. Yeah.
I should say that Berufserlaubnis is actually given here in Dartmouth because I started working back in 2019 like that. So I started working as with the Fachsprachenprüfung, what I've already done. I started working. So actually my Prüfung was in February of 2020.
Mhm.
But I had my Berufserlaubnis from November.
And this is your Kenntnisprüfung or the Fachsprachprüfung?
Fachsprachprüfung.
Okay, perfect. And then once you work for 2 years, then you are allowed to give the approbation.
Yeah, no, it is actually not that. Within 2
Okay.
years of your Fachsprachenprüfung or
Okay.
holding a Berufserlaubnis, you have to give the Kenntnisprüfung. You cannot be getting a lot of years under this Berufserlaubnis.
Mhm.
What that is only for limited for 2 years. Within this time or site, you have to give your Kenntnisprüfung. You have only a limited period of time.
And do you have to, Shruti, like, I don't know, go through some books, or like what is inside approbation? Like, do you have to learn some like theory, or how does it work?
I can put it in a simplified word.
Yes.
To say it in simplified words, it's like repeating your final year BDS
Okay.
in German.
Okay. Must be difficult, no?
It is like just doing your final year exams, giving your final. Anyone who has studied BDS would understand. You're repeating your final year BDS in German as 3 parts. That is the difference.
Okay. So this approbation takes place in 3 parts. You have 3 exams.
Yeah. Also, the Fachsprachprüfung has 3 parts, but it takes place in the same day. Fachsprachprüfung, but for the Kenntnisprüfung, it's like 2 tiles or 2 parts in one day, and the other part another day.
Actually, I think like this is like a lot of information that like we would have like never even gotten in such a simplified way. So I think like the way is kind of clear. Like at least people know like what kind of places to look at. Like not recently, but I think like a year ago or something, I had a call with a doctor who was like doing his MD in Germany, and he said the same thing. He said like the main like kind of problem lies with like getting an offer from some of the German employer who is saying like, yeah, we will be able to give you an employment if you're able to get the Berufserlaubnis and are able to like just like get the approbation too towards the end. But like yes, the main thing is the job offer. Once you have the job offer, then you can like get the processes started. In German universities we have the same. So like sometimes the German universities give you a conditional admit. So on the basis of conditional admit, you can come to Germany, you can start learning the German language, and then you can like clear the German language and you can start studying in the university. So thank you so much, Shruti. Like is there some other like information that we are missing out on right now that like maybe we can put inside?
The system is very actually clear, but you don't have a lot of people who have already done it. That is one problem. The second problem, or the very important thing, is you don't get a job offer so easily. You're not able to convince a doctor to give you a job offer for the Berufserlaubnis you have, because it is a restricted employment. And I should say you cannot do all procedures. So that is also a problem here to work as a dentist. And language is going to be a biggest barrier. That is what people have to look out for. That is very important things that you should have in mind before like you're going to come to Germany as a dentist.
Right.
Important thing is Fachsprachprüfung, before which you get Berufserlaubnis. Why getting Berufserlaubnis before Fachsprachprüfung is important is because maybe when you have a job offer, you can be better prepared. I went to a class here for my Fachsprachenprüfung. It was with DAA in Stuttgart. I went there. I studied my C1 in German or Zahnmedizin. That is a subject specific C1. You don't learn everything what a normal C1 does. So it is Fachbereich. So you learn only what is very important for your stream. I learned there in Stuttgart. That is for about 3 months. And once I learned, I had the exam only scheduled in February, but I had a lot of months between, and I was lucky enough to find a job offer. I had 2 offers in my hand out of the 3 I applied. And the best part was I was given the job in November. I started it in November till February. There was touch. German requires a lot of, I should say, touch. You should always keep in touch with someone who speaks German. Only then you have the hold of the language. So I had a fluency in German because from November till February, although the class was over, I had a job. I was working full time. That was very, very important. And that played a very important role for me passing the Fachsprachenprüfung in the first attempt, I should say.
Shruti, if I can ask about like the kind of like what are the salary structure, let's say in Germany as a dentist, like what are the numbers that we're taking a look at, if you're comfortable sharing that?
I should say you earn around 3,000 to 3,500 when you are in your assistant site.
Yeah.
It depends upon the place you are in, like city you are in. Maybe when the city is little on the higher end, like Stuttgart or Munich, I think you get paid more than a city. You are in a little bit of a town or something like that, a small town. Then it depends. Generally, it is the same as an engineer who has his master's degree. I could say when you are a trained dentist, when you have your probation, I think you get around 5,000 per month. Yeah. And when you are a Fach dentist, you are going to be paid even more. And there are also praxis which give you, I should say, they help or they aid you in doing Fach here in Germany. At least to what I know, I was offered a position to join a pediatric dentistry here in Germany, but you have to be with the praxis for 2.5 years, and they will allow or they pay for your masters or your Fach training.
I think Shruti, anything else you want to add? Because I think like for me, the things are like very clear now. I think I'll be able to like make a nice edited video after this.
Yeah, I'm helping out few dentists who wanted to come here because I've come here. There are a lot of people from my own college who actually wanted to come here, and I'm helping out. So they can reach me in my Instagram handle.
Okay.
Whenever, and I can give them all sorts of guidance, what I know.
Yes.
How to become a dentist in Germany, and what are the courses available, what are the institutes that are available actually to learn the language, and how much does it cost, and something like that. I can help them with that.
That makes sense. So I'm going to like put your Instagram inside, so anybody who has any kind of questions, they can reach out to you. And I think I would like to thank you for your time, Shruti. That was like a very, very nice and detailed like conversation that I had with you. And I think like this is definitely going to help out a lot of people. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Bharat, for giving me this opportunity. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Looking forward to help a lot of Indians.
Yes.
Of course, other country people also.
Absolutely, Shruti. You have a nice day. And yeah, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.